welcome back to IndieFaith. You're with Jules and Mary.
Hey.
It is. Did you just knock yourself out?
Oh, and hey. Heaps of elegance. Heaps of.
Want to start again?
That's all right. No, I'll work with this. I can work with this.
That was our icebreaker for the day.
Egg. Okay.
Anyway, so Fetch, I had something to say. Happy Pacific Islander Heritage Month.
Whoop, whoop.
So we're recording this on the end of May.
29th. It's 29th today, guys.
Yeah, so it'll be released in June, but we recorded in May, so we're still within the month.
Yeah.
And we are in our get-up.
Thank you, Mum.
Shout out to our mums. We
because we don't have bears.
We don't have bears, so we called our moms, and our moms came through with theirs, and
Boop, boop.
When my partner walked past, he was like, "It's very bright in this room."
I'm just like, he's going to church. Shush.
Okay, so we will start with our icebreaker.
Icebreaker. Okay.
I was going to do a drum roll, but
oh, you can if you want to.
That's okay.
I already did it with my head. Moving on. Okay, so there's this game trending on. I saw it on Instagram, and I thought it was awesome. So basically, I don't even know the name of it. Basically, we think of a word at the same time, and then we will be like, okay, got it, and Kaz will be like, okay, got it, and we have to think of something that links the two words together.
Okay.
The aim of the game is to say the same thing after you've linked the two words together somehow. They have to be related, or it can be anything. So that's how you win. I'm very nervous because
we both think differently.
As close as we are. Okay, so we're going to start. Okay, okay, we'll think of a word. Okay, ready? One.
Also, sorry.
Okay, I'll go 1, 2, 3, and then we say the word, and
All
then
right.
we'll be like, got it, and then we'll say it together.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, bag.
Box. Right, I think I got something.
Okay, got it.
Got it.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, rubbish.
Boxing.
What do you mean bag? Oh, the boxing bag. Oh, snap. Okay. All right, next one. Okay, think of a word.
All right.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, table.
Oh, damn.
Oh my gosh.
I know, that's a hard one.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I think I got it.
Okay. I got something that's so stupid.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3,
Studio.
restaurant. Oh, I should have said that.
Well, at least it's a place.
Yeah. Okay.
We got the place.
Yes, we're getting there, guys. All right, think of a word. Okay, got it. Okay, 1, 2, 3, camera.
Eyes.
Okay, got it.
Okay, got it.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, lens.
Lenses.
Yes!
Oh my gosh!
Yes, we got one. We're going to end it there before we... Yes, we got one. Okay.
All right.
That was the icebreaker for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Play it with your family and stuff, and then send it to us, or like show us, or message us, because we want to see.
Play drunk as well. That'll be funny as
That'll
well.
be in our bloopers.
Okay, so moving on, we have what's on your mind. So this one was literally like on my mind all week because I watched something today, this week, and it kind of got me thinking about something that I said earlier in our our
early days
episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was our first stereotypes one. So
Okay.
I wanted to put it out there and acknowledge that what I said in that episode was wrong with me. So remember we were talking about the stereotypical, kids hanging out in front of the, shops or in the park.
Yep.
Yeah. So, so thinking about, because especially linking it to what I was watching, so I wanted to come on here and say that, I'm sorry, I was that was judgmental of me as
Okay.
well, because I didn't know that a lot of these kids sometimes hang out in the parks or, you know, in front of the shops and stuff and drink because shit is happening at home.
Yeah.
And that was their, like, they just didn't want to go home, so they would go to the park and, like, you know, a lot of bad things happen in their homes. And, they go and they drink at the park. They just don't want to go home. And,
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, it's good that you acknowledge that, cuz.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure I would have said some stuff in that too. So I apologize for what I've said too. So.
Yeah, no, I thought about it and I was like, oh, shit. Like, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
And it goes to show that, you know, a lot of us, you know, we judge too quickly. And yes, like, you know, they're teenagers, they're drinking, but, like, you know, rather than us sort of judging how they're acting out, because that's basically what they're doing is acting out, you know, help them or talk to them, see what's actually happening, and if there's any way they could help.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that was sweet.
I felt really bad. And, yeah. On another note, this is another thing that came up in my mind. So I swear, like, why is it that, you know, the people that have COVID are the ones that have visited 200 places in that one day?
You know what? That's a fair statement. That's actually really fair. Because you wouldn't even think of that. You're just like,
Yeah. It's like every time you have someone that has COVID and then you see where all the places that are hotspots.
Yeah.
Like, you went around all of New South Wales and now the whole place is locked down.
See, but some people are like, oh, it's a conspiracy theory. Like, how do you know they even went there?
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's so hard with this COVID thing though. Like, you never know.
It's like, just stay in one place.
Yeah, but just stay home. People can work from home now, guys. I'm pretty sure.
There's one that was like one guy, and it's happened a few times when they're all the way out in Bondi, and then they're all the way out these ways.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
Yeah, so it's like anywhere between Bondi and here.
That's a fair distance.
It was locked down. But yeah, that was another thing that was.
Oh, you've really made me think about it now. I'm just like,
I know. But yeah, those were the two things that were on my mind this week. So
letting it all out.
Yeah. Next segment we have is our Just Jokes.
Okay, I'm going to be honest. I feel like Julia's always got the better jokes.
No.
Don't lie.
Well, it's funny when you dong your head in the beginning.
That was funny.
Though.
That's because that's how I am. Most people know that's how I usually roll. Clumsy as hell. Okay. What is... Okay, I've already stuffed it. I've already stuffed it. Okay, wait. Let me just make sure I've got it down. Okay. How does a cat like their steak cooked?
Sorry, how does a cat like their steak cooked?
Oh,
how?
Meow.
How?
Meow.
How?
It was meant to be rare. I stuffed it. My brother told it to me and I've stuffed it. It's meant to be rare.
I know, that's what I was like, what? Round?
Rare.
Round steak?
Start again? Nah, I'm leaving it as is because it's who I am.
Where do you get your catch from?
I've stuffed it. I'm so annoyed. Okay.
All right.
The punchline was rare. Okay. Rare. Ah. Did it get... Moving on.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, it's too much pressure, man. Too much.
All right. We'll move on to the next segment. So next segment is Story of the Day. Shit, I didn't even think about how I was going to intro this, but okay, so we all know Samoa has a new PM.
Woohoo!
That's still we also know all the shit that's been going around that whole election.
I'm loving the memes though. The memes are killing me.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. They're hilarious.
But you know, so even when she went to go, so the new PM is Fiame Naomi Mataafa.
Yep.
And she's the leader of the FAST Party. The FAST Party stands for Fatutua Ileatua Otasi. Ileatua Samoa Otasi, sorry. Mm-hmm. Rough translation, Faith in God, Samoa United.
Yes.
And so she's supposed to get sworn in the House of Parliament.
Yeah.
And the the previous PM has locked himself in the in the Parliament House, and so he's so yeah, I don't know if he's still in there.
I honestly don't know. I've just been enjoying the memes.
Yeah. But he's
he's been prime minister since I was like my kid's age.
Yeah.
Like I remember photos of him in the Samoan newspapers and stuff because my parents used to read them and that, especially my dad. And I would see his face all over the newspapers, newsletters, like all over the place. And when I saw him, what he looks like now, I'm just like, oh my gosh, give someone else a turn.
So Tui Laepa.
Yeah.
So he's locked himself in there. He's got the keys. Head of state as well would not be a part of the whole swearing in. So they had to. They swore her in a tent.
Yeah.
There's
so many things wrong with it.
There's so many things wrong.
Like for me, I think
apparently it was the longest election as well. Back and forth. And yeah, there was just so many issues around this.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you can say?
No, I think I'm more annoyed because I know people don't want to like hear it, but she's a woman. And that's what frustrates me more because it's like they wouldn't be doing this to a man. I don't feel like he'd be doing this to a man or making it that difficult.
I don't think it's a whole gender thing as much as he must be hiding a lot of shit.
Oh, that's true.
I think he does not want, anyone else coming in and then,
he'll be exposed in that. Yeah.
Some, shifty things that he did over the years. But, that's my opinion though.
Yeah.
But who knows? But yes, first female prime minister.
Yep.
So I just wanted in our story of the day, I wanted to acknowledge because there's too much negativity around the whole thing. There's too many issues and that. And I don't want to take away from, this woman and her achievement and actually becoming a prime minister.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And so, I really admire her for the way she's been composed throughout this whole ordeal.
Yeah.
And she hasn't, been bitter about it. She hasn't come out and said anything bad about Tui Laepa.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I wanted to sort of use this segment to sort of highlight just like how wonderful this woman is. Like, I think, with all of this going on, we know, like, especially us outside because we have no idea what's going on over there.
That's true.
And a lot of us, we all know that it's a new prime minister. She's the first female prime minister. But after reading about her history, man, like this woman, she's amazing.
Yeah.
So her father, Fiame Mataafa Famuina Mulinu'u Lua.
Yeah.
He was the first prime minister of Western Samoa in 1959 till 1970. Yeah. He held the position again in 1973 till he died in 1975. Her mother, Laulu, I'll just say Laulu Mataafa. She's got a very long middle name, so she was a diplomat, educator, and a politician.
Wow.
Yeah. And her father was one of the framers of the Constitution of Samoa. Jeez. So yeah, already
it's in her blood, man.
It's in her blood. So in 1991, she became the first Fiame Mataafa. She became the first female cabinet minister when she was appointed Minister of Education. In 2016, she was elected the deputy leader of the Human Rights Protection Party, which is the HRPP. And then she represented Samoa on the executive board of the UNESCO. I never know how to pronounce that, but UNESCO. From 2006 to 2012, she served as pro-chancellor and chairperson of the University of the South Pacific. She's currently the president of the Samoa National Council of Women. And then in 2018, while she was the Minister of Natural Resources and Environment, she launched the Women in Climate Change Initiative, the WICC, of which she's the patron. And then in 2020, she publicly rebuked She was publicly rebuked by former Prime Minister Joy Lepa after announcing that she will be voting against the controversial Constitution Amendment Bill, the Landed Titles Bill. And then in September 11 last year, she resigned from the cabinet, and then that's when she was invited to join the Fast Party, which she did in January of this year, and she's led that party since March this year. Yeah. So that
I'd love to meet her, right?
I know, way. That's amazing. Just from her birth.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trust any other person, honestly, to run the country.
Yeah, exactly. She's got the she can back it up with everything she's done before she was even elected. So it's like
her parents were politicians. Her dad was the first PM.
Yeah.
So she's definitely got it in her blood. But not only that, all her
like everything she's accomplished prior. Yeah.
Bloody hell, her resume.
I know. It's just like
you tick all the boxes, man. Okay. So yeah, I wanted to, sort of highlight, this woman and why she's like, sort of I would say the best. She ticks all the boxes for Prime Minister.
But I feel like this is like just the beginning. Like it's gonna go down in history, and like I reckon movies are gonna be made about her. And I have a good feeling about this.
But just the way she, kept her composure throughout this whole thing.
Yeah,
and
so much class.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that, the previous Prime Minister is giving her hell for it.
Yeah.
But, she's strong. If anything, it's making her stronger.
Exactly, because she's not doing anything to tarnish her name or anything.
Yeah.
It's strictly like...
It's him. He's just being a sore loser.
Just a little bit, eh? Let it go.
It's like those little kids who, no! They just close the door and lock themselves in.
And they're probably like, okay,
like, okay. But yeah, so so I want to give props to this amazing woman, and and congratulations.
Yeah, she just congratulations.
All right. Okay, so that was story of the day. And so another thing I wanted to bring up was we were talking about the Psalm 1 PM, and then what was I gonna say?
Was it the
We'll move on to the main topic.
Okay.
So, all right, so in celebration of Pacific Islander Heritage Month, I wanted to talk more about our culture, some of the customs and etiquettes that we have, and we would like to sort of pass on. There's a lot, we're known to be the most friendliest people and the kindest people, out there who love to laugh.
Yeah.
And I think there are some traditions and etiquettes and the way we were brought up that contribute to that.
Yeah, I agree.
So, we had topics where we were sort of talking about how, we need to change this and that.
Yeah.
But I think there are some things in our history that we can, is, important to how we are. Yeah. And we wanted to acknowledge that and honor that in celebration of Pacific Islander Heritage Month.
Yeah.
So,
Excuse me.
Cuz, so what are some of the lessons that you learned from your parents, growing up?
It's like a serious question.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
No, anything.
Okay.
Just something.
There's a lot of stuff that, that you, as a kid, you don't understand the point of it.
Yeah.
And it's not until you get older, you're just like, oh.
Yeah. 100%.
My bad.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, my parents, I'll start with my mum first. So things that I've learned from my mum is when I was quite young, my mum was the most switched on parent I've ever known. Very involved, very proactive, very on the ball, very just I give props to her in the sense of from that young age, that mother that I had has contributed to the way I mother my own kid now.
Yeah.
I do give credit where it's due. And in that sense, yeah. So how my mum was when I was little is how I am now, where I don't know if I'm worse. I'm a little bit too full on. But yeah, so I think in the way of how she was, we're very involved in our lives, very like I knew other kids would not envy us, but their mums weren't like that. And it sort of made them wish that they had that type of mum.
Yeah.
And I didn't get it because I already had that mum. So it was like, what do you mean? And then I would see the differences, like especially when I go to church or when I go to school or when I go wherever, I would see the difference. And so I owe that to my mum. With my dad, I think a lot of the lessons I learned from him when I was young is how to see. I'm a very, how do I say this? He was a very calm person. Like not one to shout or go psycho. Like, of course he'd get mad.
Yeah.
But it was one of those, when you have an issue, you don't have to make it worse by reacting a certain way.
Yeah.
So he was very composed, very chill, but when you knew he was mad, you'd be scared.
Oh, yeah.
So my cousins know, like, back then when I was a child, they were terrified of my dad. And I used to be like, don't be scared of him. He's not that bad. Like, he's not that scary. But I don't know. It was just his demeanor was very, don't mess with me kind of thing. Very loving.
Yeah.
Very funny guy. I think a lot of my humor I got from him. But he would teach us to value family, which is kind of inside joke, guys. But yeah, so it was there were different lessons they both taught me. So my mum was my mum's a New Zealand born Samoan, and I did not know that a lot of island born Samoans, like Samoan born Samoans, are very competitive or very judgmental of those who are born outside of Samoa. So way my mum was, even though she was a New Zealand born Samoan, she did everything that a Samoan-born Samoan woman would do. Yeah. So, like, mum would teach us how to, when we have guests over, we have to go make coffees, we have to go get biscuits or make them something to eat. Like, she would teach us that they can't come over and you haven't fed them. Yeah, yeah. Because it's rude. In our culture, it's rude if people come over and you haven't given them something to eat or whatever. So she taught us how to make sure, well, both of them. She taught us how to make coffees at a young age, and the adults are talking, and then how to tell them, like, the food's ready. We would, go in there and we'd sit on the ground, and then we have to say what my mum would tell us to say. We wouldn't just be like, oh, the food's ready, you have to come eat now.
I did that once.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you poor thing.
And grandma was like, get your butt over here now.
Yeah, there's a specific way you got to say it, and it's sad because we're kids. You don't know this thing. Usually,
it's a formal way.
Yeah, there's a very, very formal way, and my mum would teach us. When you have to go and tell them the food's ready, and it would make them very proud when I'd say it. Yeah, and then even they'd be impressed, like, oh, this little Australian-born girl. And then I knew it would make my parents proud. So it was a lot of things that they taught us and how to be. The number one thing I remember them teaching us is the respect side of things. So it was those sorts of things. It was when you walk past someone and tulo, which means excuse me. Yeah. Because if you didn't do that, you'd get a whack across the head. Yeah. It's really like we still do it now as adults. We still do it now where you walk past, an elder or even anyone. If you're going past them, you sort of duck down and you say excuse me in Samoan or because there's a lot of things that make us, I don't know how to say it. It's just
it's our way of showing respect.
Yes. Yeah. So it was those sorts of things. So the number one thing I know that they taught me was how to be respectful. Yeah. Because I do owe them that. I'm very, oh shit, I'm going to cry.
Just stung your head again.
Yeah, stung my head. So as much as I am the way that I am, the respectful side of things, I know I got from them too. Yeah. Like they instilled that into me that it shows now that I'm an adult. I get that from people at work or, people from school or people from, just strangers. Like the way I present myself or I show who I am. A lot of people, they say, oh, Mary, she's that respectful girl that, or something. And I didn't know why that was such a big deal because it's so automatic to us now.
I know.
That I'm just like, it's really sad when you see others who don't practice that.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
I remember, because I had to tell Rob to say Julol.
Yes.
When he walks past. So whenever he walks past mum and dad, he'll, do the whole duck down, walk past and say Julol, and then, and then he does it all the time now.
Yes.
That he does it more than my own siblings.
Yeah, he does. Sorry,
That,
cousins.
Like my younger ones, like my younger siblings, and they're the most entitled ones. So like they never really learned what we learned.
True. True.
And so they would like, just walk past mom and dad, and they won't say anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, we used to get hidings for
it's
that.
true, but it is. It's true.
But yeah, so that was a big thing. The other thing we talked about it in a previous episode was you have to, when you speak to anyone or an elder especially, you have to be at eye level.
Yeah.
And I noticed that's also across all other Pacific Island cultures as well, is that when you speak to your elders or anybody that's sitting, you have to come down.
You squat down.
You sit down.
Yeah.
Yeah. You either are eye level or you're lower than them at eye level. So that was a big thing because Rob, and he didn't know.
Yeah.
My dad's sitting on the couch and Rob will walk in and then he would start, you would say hi to dad and then he would start talking. And then dad would tell me, make sure to tell him that he's got to sit down if he talks to me. So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that at the time.
Yeah.
But I'm like, we must have been taught it when we were younger because it was automatic to us. We were like, oh yeah, fetch.
So what did you learn from your parents?
Oh, a lot, but a lot of them was in Psalm 1.
Yeah, that's all right.
I had to Google what, I had to search for what they were saying, so because I couldn't remember word for word.
Yeah,
and I couldn't find it, but I did find one. Oh no, there were two that I found that Dad used to always say to me, because someone's are big on Proverbs.
Yes, I love Proverbs. I swear, I love Proverbs.
And I don't know if that's the same across other
it might be cultures. Other cultures in that. Yeah. It might be.
But a lot of times, when Dad sort of he'll say, "Ele upu Samoa," and then you'll start.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are these upus, man? They're not in the Bible. But some of them, he'll quote the Bible as well. But others, but there were a lot of Samoan proverbs that Dad would say, and then he'll say what it is, and then he'll explain what it meant.
Yeah,
because we're just huh? So there was this one. I'm hoping I don't butcher this, but
you got this, cuz.
O whanga o mangu e whawhanga I whungala au o tama a tangata e whawhanga I upu. So the literal translation of that is the offspring of birds are fed with nectar, the children of men are fed with words. Mm-hmm. The way we took it and the way I grew up, when I grew up, the way we took what Dad said, because it was usually in relation, it was usually connected to hidings.
We're just being real, guys. Just being real.
So the meaning that I took from that, or the meaning that Dad would say, is that sort of animals learn by the rod, but kids learn by words.
Yeah.
So my dad he rarely ever hit us.
Yeah, I don't remember him smacking you.
Yeah, rarely ever give us hidings unless we've done something really, really bad.
Which is really rare because you guys were pretty good.
Oh, I've got one or two, but
this is for another time.
But that was only when I did something really bad. But other than that, my dad never ever hit us. He would just sit us down and then he would just talk.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times that's what he would say. And I never knew it word for word until I actually Googled it.
Yeah.
Because he'll say it, but then he also says the meaning behind it. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
But so he's really big on not beating your kids to teach them a lesson.
Yeah.
He's big on teaching them using words.
Yeah.
So like, he'll advise us not to do, what we did and what not to do and stuff like that. So he'll just constantly feed us with words that like, when we're older and now we have our own kids, it's like, oh yeah, that's what I remember. That's what Dad said.
Yeah.
Yeah. There were a few other ones. My dad was also a big believer in, he said, "Leaisemea e siliaku I lo ainga." So a lot of people, I noticed this in church, but a lot of people put church before their families.
Yeah.
My dad was, dad's family first.
Yeah.
And growing up, there's a lot of things that people do to impress other people in church, especially the FFL. And, you give, food to the FFL, but your kids are starving.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of that.
Yeah.
And my dad was he was big on, my family comes first.
Yeah.
Maybe if it's God, maybe he'll come first.
Yeah.
But church, that's what I never understood that either.
Yeah.
Like when I heard that church comes first.
Yeah.
Are you church or God? Like,
yeah.
If it's God, maybe I'll understand. But if you're saying church,
I'm not gonna lie. Like those days where, because we went to the same church, so there would be times where I know we're gonna get crap for this, but you know how at the end of when you're finished, the whole lesson is finished, like the whole like it's all finished.
Yeah.
So now it's time to go. And then like we're all in there and everything, and then this man comes with his book and he starts reading out how much each family's put into the church.
Yeah,
it was always after.
Like
but it was always after. As soon as we're just like, amen, and then everyone just sits there. And then I'd see this man come up and start walking to like the pew and everything, like to the front.
Book.
Yeah, with his book. And it's like one of those, you buy them at the, like, what's it called? Like Office Works and stuff. Those little.
It's red.
Yes,
it's always red.
They always pick the red ones. I don't know. And you'd see him like open it up, and I'm just like, I didn't get it. I'd sit there and be like, huh.
Yeah.
Because you'd be like, you just finished in here, and then you're listening to like, oh, this family pitched in this much, that family pitched in this much, this family. And it was always awkward. I knew it was awkward because it was money.
Yeah.
And I used to always sit there and then look at the families, and I'm just sitting there like, this is really awkward. Yeah. So I just remember it being awkward.
Now I don't know what I was gonna say. Dad will. Yeah. So a lot of those proverbs and that, I've noticed that a lot of someones are really big on those.
Yep.
I'm not too sure where they come from. I don't know if it's like from ancient sort of lessons or something. But it is in a it's like almost in a old sort of language.
Yeah.
That the proverbs are in. And a lot of times, like, because I understand when Dad talks to me or someone, I understand what he's saying. But when he speaks that language, I'm like, I don't get it. And then he will break it down and sort of like, almost sort of he'll have to translate it and then translate it again.
Yeah.
So like, yeah.
That's normal, I think, because even in the English language, when it gets too like there's words that are way too difficult or way too advanced for us, I need someone to like break it down for me so I understand.
Yeah.
So I understand in the Psalm, it's similar to Psalm 1 too, when there's like words or phrases or proverbs that are a lot more, I think formal.
Yeah.
That's when we're like, we need Uncle to break it down.
I know, especially like, Fago Mangu, and I'm like, what? I'm not a Mangu. But then, it was just like, go on and on and on. And we're just like, oh, they get it.
Okay.
But yeah, he had so many that like, I feel bad that, that nothing comes to mind at the moment. But every time I hear it, I'm like, definitely something that I've learned. With I'm trying to think if there was anything like cultural that we learned besides like like anything else like culturally that we learned. But we did have a lot of those sort of etiquettes, that we had, like the tulol, that we do, the don't stand when you're talking to someone. We have the whole, even eating.
Yep.
You're not allowed to stand and eat. No, I got told off for doing that. It's funny how when the way you learn is by getting told off.
Yeah, that's how it registers in your mind. You're just like, for next time, you're like, oh, I can't do that because I got yelled at that time.
Yeah, there were heaps more. For you growing up, what are some of the the cultural etiquettes that we were taught? That you would like to sort of pass down to the next generation.
Yeah. With Brooklyn, my daughter, I'm already teaching her Samoan because I want her to know. I want her to learn because that's who she is. Well, she's half Samoan, so I need her to understand what I'm saying. And I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the stuff I do say in Samoan, it comes off as, because that's how we were brought up. You know what I mean? When our parents would speak to us in Samoan, it was sometimes
aggressive.
Yeah, just a tad. And I didn't notice that until my daughter was like, Mum, why do you have to say that angry? Like, so angry. And I'm like, but I'm not angry. But because of the way I'm like pronouncing the words and like speaking to her, she takes it as I'm being angry. So I do want to sort of teach her that, raise her, Fat Samoa, like speaking Fat Samoa and everything. But I want to sort of switch it up where it's not coming across as so aggressive.
It's the tone, eh?
It is the tone, because I've noticed that when I say it in a more, not calmer way, or maybe a calmer way, when I do say it, she's listening. Like she told me straight up, when I say it aggressively, she gets scared.
Yeah.
Because she's very honest with me. My daughter is very honest, which is great. She's very honest. So she'll tell me straight up, oh, Mum, when you say that, I get scared. Yeah. And I don't want her to remember me speaking Samoan as something scary.
Yeah.
I want her to be like, oh, my mum used to teach me this in Samoan. So it will teach me growing up.
Yeah.
So I know I'm hard on her. I've said this in a lot of our episodes where I am very hard on her, but I need her to understand that she is part me. But yeah. So not just part me, but also the values and stuff that I'm trying to teach her and instill into her. Because I'm very big on, I don't know if it's just a cultural thing, but I feel like our families do use this, mannerisms. Mm-hmm. Like even just using your manners. I'm really strict on her when it comes to manners.
Yeah.
So if I don't hear please, thank you, excuse me, I'm not a drill sergeant, but if you want me to do something, I need you to speak to me with the level of respect that I would want someone else to speak to me.
Yeah.
Because when I ask her for something, I use please, thank yous, excuse me, so she knows.
Yeah.
So she knows how to speak to other people. Because there's been times where, she's asked me for something and it's very sort of rude. And I always tell her, I was like, you're lucky you didn't grow up. And I'm not saying you're lucky that you didn't grow up the way we grew up, but I'm saying it in the way of, if you did that 20 years ago, you would have a different reaction.
We all say that, hey, when we're parents, when you're older, even our parents said it to us.
Yeah.
Like, you're lucky that
yes,
we didn't do this or that.
Mm-hmm. It's true though, because I need her to understand that the way you speak, people will remember that. The way you hold yourself and how you are as a person.
Yeah.
Your first impressions and the way you are. And I really believe the reason why I do have those manners is because my mum was very big on using your manners.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just same. It's not just even in English. We would have to say it in Samoan as well. So when an older person would ask us something, we le fa fitai, that means no thank you. I fa mole, yes please. That's how we had to speak both in English and Samoan. And that's what I want my baby to learn. So she can be a good person. I just think when you have those sorts of mannerisms and etiquette, people will be able to speak to you in a certain way and approach you in a certain way, and she can stand her own. So that's one thing I want her to know.
Yeah. The other thing that was big with our mums as well is our table manners. Oh man, Oh, well, like,
Yeah.
don't eat with, don't shove everything in your mouth.
Yeah.
Is the other one? Feeling ko color,
Yeah.
feeling ko ai.
Yeah. You don't
So,
have two mouths
yeah.
to eat and speak. So
So there was always like, don't, like, there was always that, that we just have to shut up and eat. Like,
Yeah.
had to be quiet,
Yeah.
just focus on eating. And I like a Tongan friend said that was very important in their culture too, that it had to be like silent at the table when they're eating.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a thing, but that's what this person said.
Yeah.
But the other thing with us is, like the way we sit as well. Like you don't point your feet at anybody.
Yeah.
Like, when you have how guys sit and they have their leg up.
Yep.
And it's like, on top of the, how would you describe that? Like it's one leg's on top of the other.
Yeah.
And if that's like, that's rude to.
It is rude.
It's rude to sit that way.
I know in our society most people don't think it is.
Yeah. It's very rude. Yeah. Even just like when you're sitting on the floor, because a lot of us kids, we'd have to sit on the floor and all the elders are on the, on the chairs.
Mm-hmm.
And, when you sit with your legs outstretched, nah, that's.
Cross your legs.
Yeah.
Especially girls.
Yeah. And my mom, like, little things like that, my mom would always teach us, or even grandma, that we always have to, fold our,
Yeah.
legs.
Doesn't
cross
matter if
our
your legs
sorry.
are like numb as like cramping. You cross those legs, man. Take one for it's either you take that or you take like a slap to the head or something.
Yeah. And always like making sure that, especially girls, like there's a way that you have to, sometimes you have to like sort of tuck your legs to the side. But it's when you're wearing an E-level lover, like you have to be very on point with the way you're sitting.
If you're sitting in a way where anyone can see anything, you're gonna hear about it. So
you can't even show your knees.
Nah. Even your ankles. I used to feel so awkward showing my ankles. I would wear long socks. Honest, it's like 40-degree heat and I'm wearing long socks because just from your waist down, you cannot show, well, even like anything above, you can't show any sort of skin.
Yeah.
So I would just be paranoid as because I didn't want to get in trouble. And my parents were very, not strict, but very switched on. So if they didn't want people to come over and I'm sitting a certain way or presenting myself a certain way, because then when they'd leave, I would cop it after.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like I'm going to get bashed. I just meant like I'll hear about it after.
Or sometimes bashed, but
Yeah. Or sometimes hear about it right there and then. So I'm embarrassed. So yeah.
This one thing that I know our moms taught us is when you go to someone's house, so you're the visitor and that, if they offer you a drink or food, you have to say no. It doesn't matter if you're starving or you're thirsty.
Your like stomach's grumbling and stuff. You've been there for hours. And you're just gonna tear just
and they always like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I
No thank you. No thank you.
And it was like 40 degrees outside and we're all like thirsty. Yeah. Our moms are like,
I remember those days.
but it was just like, back then I thought it was torture. Like, why? Not even water.
Yeah.
Like, please.
We're being deprived.
But it's now that like, I'm older and I look back at it, I'm like, it is, out of respect that you don't go sort of raiding in their cupboards. And, they don't have, we sort of have to respect
their home.
Yeah. And that they probably don't have a lot of food, but they're, offering it out of politeness and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Can I just say I was very confused by that. Because, we also have that thing when people offer you food, you can't say no. So then, so you're standing there like, do you want something to eat? And your brain's just like, and then you look at your mum who's like, but she doesn't say anything because she doesn't want to say it right in front of the person like who owns the house. So you're looking at them and then you're looking at the other person and you're just like, yes, no. I was really confused as a kid. I was like, and then I'd be like, I don't know anymore. I don't know.
It's worse when you're stuck in the middle of a battle.
That's man.
Because mom will be like, they'll offer like, chips or something, and then mom will be like, no, thank you, to like, on our behalf.
Yeah.
And they were like, Sig, take it. And they're like, no, hey, go out. Like, and then, they were like, take it. It was just like,
yeah, for real. That reminds me of that thing. Okay, so in our culture, when we have to go make ipuki, so coffees or teas for the elders, I would come out with 2. And then they tell you who to give it to. I've seen so many memes, like Jeff Dolphell's done it. This other girl on TikTok's done it. It cracks me up because it's the truth. You come out with the coffees and that, and they're like, yeah, go give it to her,
I've been more.
And so you're standing there with 2 coffee cups, and you're just like, and so you're walking around, and it's coffee. It's hot. It's a hot beverage, guys. Like, hello. And they're like, no, go give it to them. No. And then your parents looking at you like, no, go give it to them. And then they're like, no, give it to your dad. No, give it to. So you're honestly just standing there like. And then when you finally decide who to give it to, the other person's mad.
Yeah.
So you're just like, there's 6 more coffee cups. I'm coming back. Like. That would confuse me.
Next time, just bring a trolley.
We should have got one. We should have invested in that because I was so confused. And we'd have heaps of guests come over, and they're like, "No, give it to Liai Avia, Kuluma," and just like, honest. And you're standing there like shaking, and coffee, and just like, who do I give it to? Oh man, memories.
Oh, I know.
Good times.
But one of my best memories, the way it goes is all the elders are in the lounge.
Yes.
They do their thing, their meeting, their talks or whatever. Kids are not allowed nowhere near that room.
Stay away from that room.
We have to stay away from it. And then all the, the adults, like, they're in the kitchen, they're preparing, doing the geese, like coffee.
So like the teenage, older, like in their 20 girls, mainly girls.
Yeah.
In the kitchen.
Yeah. And so they make like the desserts or, whatever snacks that they need.
Yeah.
I remember growing up, like, my mom, it would be, my grandparents in the lounge, and then my mom and their generation is in the kitchen. Yeah. And I'm just, I was the kid, so we had to stay away. So we all played in the room. Yeah. So we were free to do anything. We were jumping on beds and everything. And then like sometimes I'll sneak in the kitchen, and mom will like give me some like, snacks. Yeah. But I remember it was just like a big thing, and like, it was like we're all divided, but it was just like everyone knew their part to play in it.
Yeah, that was their role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then when we got older and then we were in the kitchen, I was like, nah.
See, but other girls can relate. Straight up, like for real. Most girls can relate because you're in that kitchen. And they like when guests come over, they don't stay for like an hour or 2. And you are in that kitchen until they leave. Yeah. Even when they leave, all the dishes and that they've used, and like all the keys, all the coffee cups and everything that they use, you're cleaning that up when they leave. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure a lot of girls can relate that. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that was our role that we played, where we're in the kitchen until they leave.
But it did create memories, though.
It would, because we would just laugh in the kitchen or talk crap.
Yeah, we start bitching about them.
You've all exposed us. I think everyone does that. All girls do that. So. All girls do that when they're waiting in the kitchen. Like, did you see what she's wearing? Oh my gosh.
Pretend to like spit in their coffee. I didn't do that.
I didn't do that, I swear. Nah. But it was like when they would say things to you that would make you like, especially aunties or like, distant relatives, they'd look at you and be like, oh, you're too skinny, or, you're too fat, or they would say all the stuff, or you look like a boy, like you have a body shape of a boy, and you're just like, and you're holding a cup of coffee like,
But it was, like back then when I was younger, I always thought like, that I guess because you're making the best out of it, it's something you have to do, so you get the best out of it. But I thought it was like, we all sort of got a lot closer, like, each group we were like, when out, like, because when we were kids and we'd be in the rooms and that, like we used to like, play games or, not like these kids on their Fortnite and stuff.
True.
Like video games and that. Yeah. We'd have to come up with stuff.
And she was the queen of making up games. Like there was that one where you would do characters or actors or wrestlers or whatever, and we would put the names in the hat. and then 2 teams, and then we pick it out, and you have to act who that
Yeah.
person.
We used to make up a lot of games, and I remember even with church kids, like we used to always like go outside and we'll tell ghost stories or something like that. But that all like sort of contributed to like, you know, some of the best memories.
Yeah, like we had a pretty decent childhood though, like I would say.
And then when we got to the point where we were old enough to be in the kitchens, like even then, you know, there's that bond with the group that's in the kitchen.
Especially because you grew up with that group.
Yeah.
So it's like you went from one part of your life and now you've moved up. You've been moved up. And then when you see each other, you're like, you got promoted too? Yeah, me too.
Are you on the coffee? No, I'm on the biscuits.
You're just like, yeah, bring it in.
But yeah, I think I enjoyed it more when I was a child because
100%.
Because not only that, we also got some of the desserts that elders got as well, even though it was just like leftovers. But that
like
was where the best pineapple pies were, and then you know, all those desserts.
Yum. Good times.
Yeah. But I think that's one thing that, you know, I don't know. It's good about us that we sort of like, because of those situations, we always make the best out of anything. Yeah. You know, like, especially when you're in a group. Yeah. And I think that's something that not so much we learned from our elders, but more it's just something that's within us. Yeah. Anyway, because, you know, even them as elders, they have their clique. Yes. So like, you know, it's almost like like you have your communities sort of thing, and we all stick together. We all like, you know, sort of have each other's back. And I love that aspect of it. Yeah. Of all of the you know, of those lovers, I guess you would say.
But you're right though, because it's like I said, like when we were kids, we'd grow up with these other kids and then we'd move on to different stages in our life. And we're still there. Yeah. Like still in each other's lives. And then, like you said, like it's like promotion. But it's just a different chapter of our lives. But it's still the closeness and the bond that everyone has. Yeah. Even with their own cliques, regardless if it's just us who are like, you know, doing the coffees or the elders. There's still that sense of belonging.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was fun. That was fun times.
I remember those times. They were good times. Because we do that now, really. Like with our own families and our kids. Because we're usually the ones who organize them. Our family's things, and you know, we're in the kitchen. Yeah. from the morning till like midnight. Pretty much. But it taught us something. Like it really did teach us, you know, values and how to like be hospitable to people and how to host and take care of others. And you okay?
Sorry. Yeah, go on.
No, I think that's all I had to say.
No, 100%. Like, I have nothing.
Oh, yeah. I love how you're like, 100%. I have nothing.
I can see the difference between when we were growing up and this generation. Yeah. And that's what I think. That's one of the things I'm grateful for when I look back at, you know, some of the stuff that I've learned and how I am today is that, you know, that sort of sense of belonging into a group and growing up with other kids, that social aspect of it. Whereas I find that this generation, the younger generation, don't have that because they, you know how we used to, like, when we were kids, we'd be very, because we had nothing.
We really did.
We had nothing. We had to like use our imagination.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We really had to fend for ourselves, like in those circumstances. Yeah.
So we like play hide and seek, or you know.
I love that one that you got us to do, where someone's like has to close their eyes or they're blindfolded and they have to try and find people in the dark. That was one of my favorite games. I think our poor cousin, he stacked it really bad. I don't know if he like hit a window or something.
Oh damn.
But because we were so into the game. Yeah. And then I felt sorry because, you know, some of us would taunt him. Yeah. So they would touch him and then he just... Best memories though, man.
I know. And we used to play that with church, other church kids as well. Yeah. That's where I had my first kiss.
Oh, I'm telling Grandma. Going to church, eh?
Hey, it's not my fault. We had to be in the room.
Oh, cute. Shoot.
But yeah, like when I look at, our kids' generation, it's all about, iPads and you just like, they're all in the same room, but they're all like this the whole time. There's no interaction or anything. So yeah, like I'm grateful for the way we were brought up.
I am, because we were born in a perfect time where we learnt a lot of values. Well, not values, but we learnt a lot of stuff, and then we were introduced to technology. Yeah, I think that was good. Yeah, like that balance. Whereas being born into a world where it's full of like iPads and full of iPhones and PlayStations and stuff. Yeah, I know. It's hard.
But I guess that's like my point with this is that with the mannerisms and the etiquettes and sort of protocols and everything that we had, and the situations that we were in and making the most out of it, like what we had was, I would say, something very special that
I agree.
The next generation are not going to have.
They've missed out on, really. Yeah.
So like that's why what is something that in our culture, like that we do, that we've learned and we've grown up with, that you would sort of take and teach them?
I think it's easier said than done, but I really think if you just put your phone down.
I know, way.
Legit, like if you just put your phone down, I'm a hypocrite because I'm usually always on my phone. Yeah. But for real, if you just put it down and actually take in the time to spend with another person, you would find that like there's more to life than that phone. Yeah. Because there's been heaps of times where people will tell me you're on your phone too much, and they're right, because I usually am on my phone. But when I do put it down and I've actually spent the time to really be in that moment, I remember it. Because you know how you can take so many photos, take so many videos of a function or a place. And my friend actually told me this when we went to a wedding, be in the moment. Yeah. And I'm learning that. I'm not fully there yet, but I know I'm learning that. And I want Brooklyn to be like that because I feel bad. I'm really... I make it sound like I'm such a strict parent, but she gets very limited technology time. Like I'm starting to be very, like she gets limited time. So we're trying really hard to take her out more. Yeah. I'm trying really hard to put my phone down. So at least we can remember that, because memories, they really are priceless, man. Like we will never forget those memories that we made as children. Yeah. To this day, we still laugh about it and talk about it. And even with our own cousins and our own brothers and sisters, like we all go down memory lane. Part of our it really is like that nostalgic thing that we have where we remember the good times when we were kids, before we had our own kids, before technology took over our lives. It was pretty much the best times of our life. Yeah. So I want Brooklyn to have that. That's what I would take, the cultural side of how our parents taught us how to be, respectful and courteous of others and just be a good person. Yeah. I want to instill that into my daughter, but also as a parent, I have to limit her time on and I know it's easier said than done. Trust me, like I'm not judging anyone whose kids have a lot of time on technology. That's not it. That's just my own preference with my kid. Yeah. But yeah, I would recommend that you guys just put it down. If you're not going to like turn it off or whatever, just be in the moment. That's just the only thing I can say. Yeah. No, 100%. And
just going back on when you said, I feel bad because I know I sound like a strict parent, but like, is that sort of, isn't that the aspect of parenting that we sort of grew up with because our parents were strict? Yeah, that made us who we are now. Legit, sort of thing. Like my mum. Yeah, we only had one computer, 6 kids. 1 hour each, and I'm not gonna lie, my siblings will tell you, I would change the time on the computer. So I would go back so that my sibling who's next comes, then they check the time and they're just like, oh, you have another half an hour to go, and I'll be like, yeah, and then they'll go, and then I quickly put another 5-10 minutes back, and they'll come back and they're like, Fi, you've been on for ages, and I'm just like, yeah, I know. Jeez, I was bad. My siblings will remember this. You don't have any other clocks.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Fine, that's a good. I don't know, man. It was just in the moment. We're young kids. We only get one computer, 1 hour. My mum would only give us 1 hour. I was so shifty because I was older. Like by the time we got on computer, I was like 15.
Yeah.
14, 15. So these little brats can wait, man. I've earned this. I didn't have a computer for ages, man. So I would do that. But my mum would legit, like honestly, it would kill me that she would only give us 1 hour each per day. And sometimes when I was bad, you get no computer time. And I used to be so shitty because I'd be like, no, my only form of contact to someone. So yeah, I didn't even think of that, cuz. So yeah, you're right. I think the reason why I can come off as strict to my kid, like other parents will be like, oh, she's very strict, is because my parents, specifically my mum, was very strict in that aspect of technologies. It was go play outside, go read a book. Oh, the reading of the book thing. I say that to Brooklyn now, and I can hear myself. I'll be like, go read a book, and she'll be like, I don't want to read a book. It's boring. And that's exactly what I would say to my mother. Like when she would tell me like, no computer time, go read a book, go learn something, go play outside, go be a kid. And I used to be like, oh man, I just want to go on the computer. Yeah. So you're right.
Yeah, I mean, because I noticed that our generation, we're a lot softer
than our parents.
Than our parents with the way we raise. It's like we're almost scared to be strict because of how our parents were with us. Yeah, but then if you look at the way we are, and the way they are, and it's like, well, don't you need, like, you know, there's got to be some sort of, like, form of strictness that we got to put. Because, like, you know, with us, we know right from wrong, sort of thing. I'm finding it so hard to get through to my, like, you know, my 6-year-old. He's just 6 years old. Yeah. But, I mean, mum as well, she's having trouble getting through to the teenagers as well, my sisters. And it's like it's just in one year out the other. They're very entitled. Like, you know, they would do a lot of things. And I'm like, man, if I had that attitude, I'd get a hiding. Yeah. But, so it's like, and you look at the difference between their generation and our generation. And I feel like we're slowly losing that respect for your elders. Yeah. That our generation have. And, I don't know. Like, I want to be strict, but then because I sort of, you know, don't want to be as strict as how, you know, our parents were with us. So you try and be lenient, but then it's like not getting through. Yeah.
I think it's just finding the balance, eh?
That's the thing. I mean, I think our generation, it's always about finding the balance, but maybe it's just as simple as being like as strict as our parents. You know what I mean?
Maybe. I don't know. See, we never know.
I know.
We just never know because every kid's different and every parenting style is different. This is just what works for me and my kid for now. Like, and she's 4. So I know when she gets older, it's going to get harder because it's already getting harder. Like before, when she, like a year ago, I could have been like, okay, that's enough iPad time, turned it off. And she'd turn it off. But now it's getting to the point like, 10 more minutes, mom. And then when I'm like, no, she does that. So I can already tell as they get older, it is getting harder. But I think, I'm going to be a bit stricter. Yeah. Because for me and my kid, that's what's going to work. Yeah. Because I have been strict since she was born. Yeah. It's just, I thought I was going to loosen the reins a bit as she got older. But I'm finding it that my level of strictness all comes down to her level of tolerance. So if she's like, you know, disrespectful or not listening or whatever, I have to match it. Yeah. Because I can't afford to be too lenient because then she turns too bratty. Yeah. Or I can't afford to be too strict because then she gets scared. Yeah. So I understand how difficult it is for us as parents because our parents were super, super strict, that we're trying not to be as strict. But I think it's just everyone's different. It's just finding your own balance that will work for you. Yeah. I'm not saying this is working. I'm just saying it's for now.
I know.
That's how it's going with me and my kid.
Because right now I'm at a crossroads where, like, you know, using hidings as a form of discipline. Yeah. Because honestly, I've tried the timeout. I've tried the you know, talking to. I've tried, you know, a lot of the non-violent ways. I've tried it all, and it's like every time it'll work for like that short period, and then it goes back.
Yeah.
And then you have to do it again and
Yeah.
again. Whereas I like, growing up, when we get out hiding, that was it.
Yeah.
Like,
you wouldn't do it again.
No.
Yeah.
You were scared to do it again. And like, I know that's really frowned upon in this generation. And yeah, like, I sort of I understand it in like, especially when it comes to extreme cases.
Yeah.
But we never grew up with extreme cases.
No, we
though.
didn't. Oh.
Yeah.
I used one of what I thought was not extreme to my non-islander friends, and they were just like, that's not right. But I don't think it was wrong.
Oh, well, there you go. Like,
I don't...
As the child that got the beating.
Yeah. I didn't think it was... To me, I don't think it was abuse.
Yeah.
Like they think I was brainwashed or something, but I don't look at it like that. I look at it like we did something that was pretty naughty. And we got disciplined for it. We got really disciplined for it. And looking back, I think it was like my siblings might not agree. But for me personally, I didn't look at it like it was borderline abuse or dogs should have been involved or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because again, a lot of the reason why I am the way I am is because my parents disciplined me.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't look at it like that. But you're right. A lot of non-islanders won't look at it like that.
Yeah. And I think like, and that's what I mean. Like for us who lived with it, who was used to it, we didn't see it as a bad thing. Like if anything, I took it as a lesson. When I got a hiding, I was like, oh yeah, I won't do that again.
Yeah.
But from the outside looking in, they would definitely see it as abuse. But I think also, there are, like, I'm not saying that there aren't, cases where they do go hard. It's overboard, extreme, beating them until they're like, almost crippled. Yeah. Hell no.
Yeah.
But, when I grew up, dad was mainly words and everything. Mom would smack us. Dad would as well. But like, I don't know. I just feel like it toughened us up when we got older.
Yeah.
Because I find that this next generation is a very soft. Yes.
Just a little bit. Like
they're like...
we were just being honest, man. Like...
They're very sensitive.
Yeah.
And it's like there's this guy that I listen to, Dan Pena, and he calls them snowflakes.
Oh, yeah. Joe Coy calls them pussies.
Well, there you go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this next generation don't have that sort of backbone that we have, where when we do get faced with like real life shit.
Yeah, or confrontation.
Yeah. Out in the real world, not within our families, but outside in the real world, we know how to handle ourselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas you protect these kids too much because we're like, same with me. Like, I don't want to sort of, I think I've adapted too much into that sort of, what do you call it? That way of discipline where you don't want to harm the child and you don't want to traumatize them or like, sort of like everything that the Palangi says that, hiding does to a child. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, we coddle them too much that now it's like, anytime like, he feels like he's being hurt. Yeah. It's like, he doesn't know how to handle it. Yeah. He's like she hurt, like, this kid at school hurt my feelings. Yeah. And I was like, and?
Oh, I just spat at you, sorry. Oh, sorry.
But, little things. And then everything is like, oh, this kid is like, I'm being bullied. Yeah. And, I know when he's actually being bullied and when he's just being teased. Yeah. And for me, when we used to get teased, we used to always have to learn to come up with the best comeback.
Yeah, man. That's how you survive.
Yeah.
That's how you survive.
But there is no, you know what I mean, with this generation, there's no, that they don't have that level of, they don't have those survival skills to handle it. Yeah. So I think that, does it contribute to this massive sort of number of people that have mental health issues these days? Because there's a massive increase in kids with mental health issues.
Yeah. Wow, this is hard. I think, okay, this is just from, I can only speak for myself and from my experiences. I can't speak for anyone else and what they went through. If it's different, respect. Like I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything. But for me, I didn't have an easy life, but it was one of those, like you said, you had to make something good out of a bad situation. And like I said, because I had already been sort of set up from, a young little kid to a teenager, those years, I was already sort of molded into being tough. Mm-hmm. So that when I did get older and then went through a lot of crap, it made me it prepared me to take on whatever comes at me after.
Yeah.
So I think for me, that level of discipline that I had, it worked for me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying I'm perfect. No one's friggin' perfect. But I know that I could have been way worse had I not had the guidance or the level of teachings that was instilled in me between those ages. Yeah. From like when I was born to like 14. Those ages were the sort of it was the foundation to becoming the person that I am today. Mm-hmm. So I think for me, I don't go against smacking. Yeah. Each to their own. I don't do that with my own daughter. Sometimes I do wish I did, but I don't. Yeah. I used to when she was like a lot younger, but now that she's getting older, we're more talking. Because I'm a talker. I talk a lot. I've realized my daughter talks a lot. Yeah. We're very similar in that sense. So I can already see the sort of way I need to go about things with her. That's just with me and my own daughter. I don't know how it'll work for anyone else and their children. But again, I am trying to toughen her up so that she can handle her own. Yeah. Because she can when she wants to. There's times where I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, fight back. And I don't mean like, physical. I mean like, outsmart them. And her father's very witty. So he's already teaching her that. Oh, wow. Where she can outsmart someone with her words. Yeah. Because she's done it to me.
She has.
Yes, she has. I've got witnesses. So it's for me, the cultural upbringing that I had from those ages, both parents, made me strong. Yeah. And I want my kid to have that level of strength because if she doesn't, the world is going to eat her up. Yes. And I cannot afford for my beautiful child to enter a world where how crazy this world already is. Yeah. I cannot afford for her to go into that unprepared because me as her mum, I need to set her up. Yeah. I need to get her ready, get her, in survival mode, teach her what she needs to say and do so that when she does become a young lady like myself, she won't let anyone mess with her. Yeah. Because no one's messing with her. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, 100%. And, my parents were the same. Like, my parents would say that they're very strict on us because it's going to be tough out there. Yeah. You know what I mean? And for them, like, a lot of times we would be like, it's unfair, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But I never realized until now what Dad was trying to do the whole time. Because Dad always has this thing where he always says, think about the future. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what about the present? I'm unhappy in the present. But he's always been big on that. Yeah. And so he'll be very strict on us. It was a balance of, being loving and also being
firm.
Yes, yes. And he was very, very firm. Mm-hmm. And, Dad would be so like if we were crying because we got teased, Dad would tell us off. Yeah. He would tell us off. He'd be like, why the hell are you crying? Like, go fussy. Like, go hit them then. Yeah. Or like he would tell us, like sometimes we used to he'll teach us how to box. Yeah. Like, in the lounge, so he'll have the cushions up and he'll teach us how to punch. Mm-hmm. And that was basically because if anybody hit us, we can hit them back. Yeah. And I think a lot of parents these days like, you know, they don't like violence.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's because they don't sort of, they don't like, you know, any sort of aggressiveness around their child. And, they're, you know, and I understand it. They're protecting them and everything.
Yeah.
But then when they're out there and then, you know, they do get bullied, they got no defense.
Yeah.
Because they don't know how to, you know, sort of fight back.
Yeah.
Whereas our parent, like, you know, our parents and our generation, our parents were really big on that. That if, you know, if they hit you, you hit them back.
Yeah.
And these days, like, if you hit them, tell the teacher.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm trying to do that with you know, Brody. And like, and I know this is gonna sound really, really cruel, but I've been teasing him a lot. Like, I know, but hear me out.
I'm hearing you out. Okay, I'm gonna hear you out, cause
So like, you know, every now and then, like he'll say something, and I'll be like, oh well, that was stupid, and then he'll be like, did you call me stupid? Because he's very sensitive.
yes, he is. My
And
nephew's
then-
very sensitive.
yeah.
He's sweet.
So like, but I'm doing it so that he can throw something back. You know what I mean? And I always say to him, like, you know, if someone calls you something, don't get hurt.
Yeah.
Don't take it personally. And so when I say it, I don't want him to like sort of cry.
Yeah.
I want him to sort of, you know, just sort of shrug it off.
Yeah.
Because back then when we were little, we used to call each other a lot of names.
We call, like, I was gonna say something that her brothers used to call her. I don't even know why they'd call her that. Looking back, I'm just like, why would they call you that?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So a lot of animals as well. Okay. But we had the worst names for each other.
We really did. But you know what? The
Always.
boys, honestly, I don't know where they come up with, like, their level of roast is just like, our kids would not be able to hack it, man. They would seriously report their uncles because their level of abuse, like in the sense of like roasting, they are champions.
Yeah.
They should get some sort of gold medal for their level of, and you know what? It actually did make us stronger because I didn't
Yes.
cry.
Yeah.
I wouldn't cry. Like I'd be cut as, but like I'd do it away from them so they wouldn't see that they hurt me.
But no one roasts you harder than your brothers or your cousins. Like,
Straight up.
so if you can handle that,
Yeah, you can handle
man,
anybody.
Yeah, exactly. So like, you know, when we used to mock each other at home,
Yeah.
anybody that teased me, like, or say anything to me outside of,
Yeah.
I'll be like, oh, okay, like,
But it wasn't even good. Like, that's how you knew, like, anything you say to me
Yeah.
cannot measure up to the amount of, like, roasting sessions I've had with my brothers.
Yeah.
What you say is nothing compared to what they've said to. And I'm not saying it like our brothers were horrible.
Yeah.
I'm saying it like they toughened us up.
yeah, yeah, and like, you know, there were things that, you know, we went through, and like there were things that I went through in high school that really got to me as well. But I think honestly, if it weren't for, like, you know, the strict upbringing and you know, the no bullshit sort of parenting style that my parents had with me, and also with my siblings, like, you know, how we were with each other and teasing each other, like, I think I would have been worse
Yeah. If you didn't have that.
if I didn't have that.
100%.
Yeah,
I agree.
like,
I'm just saying.
like the level of bullying I got at school, like,
Yeah.
it would have been so bad
Yeah.
had I not been, you know, gone through that with our
Yeah.
family.
Yeah. I think they're probably thinking our families were like really bad. No, we're not saying it to make them out
They
to
were.
be like. Well, I'm not saying
you
it.
should have heard the
Oh
names.
man, we sometimes still get called names.
Nah, but they're bad, but they were worth, like, like,
It was what we needed.
yeah, it was what we
Straight
needed.
up. Like I am grateful for it because, like I said, like it made me strong.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that, you know, you go home and then freaking
Abuse your children, call them names.
I know. But because you know, with me, because that's how we grew up, and we roast each other, and
Yeah.
so, and like, it's sort of anybody that teased me outside of school,
Yeah.
I wouldn't really take seriously.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm trying to do it at home.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, Brody, he's like, he doesn't have any other kids around. So there's no one to sort of tease him the
Yeah.
way siblings do, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, his brother's like only a baby, and
Yeah.
they haven't gotten to that level yet. But you know, I'm trying to sort of get him to be used to it
Yeah.
and to be able to come up with a comeback or something like that, rather than him sort of taking it in and then he just, he's very stressed about it,
That makes sense.
And I'm trying to bring that sort of aspect of our childhood to him, but it's hard because he's very, very sensitive.
Yeah.
And
I think like you said, because it's everyone's parenting style is different and every kid's different.
Yeah.
So whatever works for you guys is what works for you guys.
Yeah, but I'm talking more of the cultural aspect, because a lot of us islanders, that's how we grew up.
Yeah.
And our parents were they were big on, if anybody teases you or if anybody hits you, you hit them back. Yeah. That's how we grew up. Yeah. And I that's what's different with us than with Balangi families and that. And it, in a way it worked because that, it toughened us up. It gave us a backbone, and we were able to handle ourselves outside of the home. Yeah. But yeah. I think we went on off tangent with that.
I don't think so. I think it was all really related because it's what we were brought up with.
True.
So I'm happy.
I'll end it with this question. Okay. So you said before in an icebreaker that you would love to go back and meet your ancestors.
Yeah.
If you told them what our generation are like now, do you think they'll be proud?
Oh, that's sad. I think they would be proud, but they would also, because I'm picturing myself as an ancestor too.
Yeah.
So if I was in their place too, but I'll go off of if I was to talk to them. I think they would be proud, but I know they would sort of be like, you need to make them do better. I reckon that because Samoan families are very honest.
100%.
And very blunt.
100%.
Y'all need to meet our grandmother.
I've been fat for 20 years.
You want to talk about roast? She's the queen of roast, okay? That's why I tell my Balangi friends all the time, nothing you say to me will ever cut me. You know why? Because my grandmother's already said 10 times worse. And again, it actually contributed to how tough I am, that I can take a lot of stuff. I can hack it. But I believe that our ancestors would tell me, I'm very proud of, where you guys are, the beautiful children you've brought into the next generation, but you can do more. You can all do more.
Yeah.
And I reckon that's what they would say to me.
Yeah. No, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Good answer. Okay. I will leave it at that. Yeah. All right. Happy Pacific Islander Heritage Month.
Whoop, whoop.
We should have gone the full gear.
I forgot my fan, my ili. I full left it at home. I full forgot about it.
I have one around here, but yeah.
It's too cold anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's freezing.
But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Let us know how, what you guys learned.
Yeah, or what your parents, Yeah,
or any proverbs as well.
Oh, yes, please.
Like your culture's proverbs.
I love proverbs. Yeah.
Message us, let us know, comment. Check us out. We're on Instagram, Facebook, as IndieFaith Podcast.
Yeah.
We don't have a Twitter account yet, but we will. I'm thinking of putting us on Twitter.
True.
And we're on TikTok as well.
Yeah.
We haven't been on it for a while.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry, I haven't done anything. She's done everything on TikTok, so.
It's all good.
I used pregnancy as an excuse, remember? Because she's like, we should do this dance. I'm like, oh, I'm pregnant. Now I have no excuse. So yeah, that will be coming soon.
Whoop, whoop.
We're also on YouTube under Logo Smith Media.
Yeah.
Please like and
subscribe, man.
And follow us. I'm gonna try and post as much as I can on social media now. And yeah, I've got a quote a day now thing.
I know, I've seen that. You guys seen that?
But yeah, message us anytime. If you have any ideas for any future topics as well, let
Bring
us
it on,
know.
man.
Yeah. But otherwise, have a happy PI Heritage Month.
I thought you were going to say happy day. I thought that's what you were going to say.
All right, there, that's it. That's all I have. Have a good one, and
bye, guys.
We'll see you in the next episode.